Welcome to another edition of our on-air series for the Citi Business Festival 2022. This program is brought to you by APSA, MTN, with support from IT Consortium, Gersal, and GIPC. We are still talking about how SMEs can recover from the COVID stress. And today we're looking at tools and technology tools that can help you revamp as the world of work changes for SMEs. My guest is the Senior Manager in charge of Enterprise for MTN and MTN Business, Richard Densu. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Bernard.
It's good to have you. How are you doing?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm very good. We are trying to recover from COVID. Is that the same situation with companies like yours? Where are you in the post-COVID recovery?
Okay, so as you're aware, the COVID came to disrupt a lot of things. We're on a path that we've been used to for many years, and then instantly we had to be forced to be home, to work from places that we're not used to, and places that were not normal settings for office and other things. So a lot of disruptions. But yes, the 2 years or so that we were through, we learned a lot through the process.
We are in May 2022. So yeah. 2 years ago now must have been crazy.
When the thick of it.
Where people couldn't go to work. Everybody was looking for data.
Exactly.
The meaning of home and work changed. And your company was at the center of that for probably 90% of Ghanaians. How are you guys coping with that kind of pressure?
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on our network. So we had to quickly do some adjustment to support. We also were able to support the government, support the schools, because now they had to work from home and they had to school from different places. So it brought a lot of pressure, but we were able to manage it.
Amazing. What do you do at MTN? You have a nice title, Senior Manager, MTN Enterprise or MTN Business.
Yeah, it's Enterprise Solutions.
Enterprise Solutions.
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, so enterprise business basically is an arm within MTN, a division within MTN that support businesses. Okay, so beyond the individuals that we support, we also have a unit dedicated to supporting businesses, large enterprises, small ones, very small ones, individual businesses. So what I do there is provide solutions for these companies. So there are some of them, they use standard services. There are some of them we sit with them, design the solutions, and we implement it for them.
You know, when you use the word solution, it can mean a lot of things. So are you talking about products that can help them work?
Exactly.
That's what you mean by a solution.
Okay. So any enablement, any technology that you need to enable your business. Okay. So we're talking about connectivity. You have branches across the country. You want to connect it. We can provide that. You have communication needs. You have security, you require security, you require internet. All those other tools, the ICT tools that you need to enable your business. We're able to do that, yes. That's what we call the solutions. And
so that's what you call enterprise solutions.
Enterprise solutions.
As against, so if Bernard Avle comes to MTN for a personal connection, that's a direct consumer engagement.
Yes.
But if Citi FM comes to MTN, that's enterprise.
Yes.
So you manage Citi FM.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
And so the raft of companies you manage will be from both a one-man business to a 200-man business to a 5,000 company. All types of companies.
All types of companies across geographical locations, anywhere in the world. We can actually provide. So we built partnerships. MTN is in over close to 20 countries, and we have systems and structures to be able to provide solutions of any form.
I see.
Data, including data center services, anywhere. And we have, for instance, if your business is in Nigeria, it's very easy to interact or talk with our partners in Nigeria, our sister company in Nigeria, then we can work something out for you. So beyond Ghana, we're also able to provide services.
I'll come to that. I'm still trying to understand the way the business MTN solutions works. But let's talk about SMEs.
Okay.
So from where you work, what percentage of the organizations that you offer service for would you say are SMEs? That's question one. And what does that tell you about the way SMEs are in Ghana?
In terms of percentages, about 90%. 90% of the businesses that we serve are SMEs. Mm-hmm. And yes, it tells us, and the data also shows that it's a good representation of the structure of the economy. So most businesses are SMEs. Most of the businesses and the contribution to the GDP and all of that come from the small
SME side.
Yes, SME side. So they are key, and you know if they thrive, we also thrive. I mean, if they as they do well, then they would have the capacity to be able to expand their businesses and all of that. So we always positioning ourselves to be able to partner with them for growth, to be able to help them grow, so that we can.
So when you talk of SME, from your perspective as a solution provider, are you looking at the number of employees? Are you looking at the turnover of the business, or what are you?
Both. So we look at the employees. So it can be one. Mm-hmm. So a consultant. Yeah. Okay. It's a business. Yes. He's an individual, but do I say he's a business or she's a business? And then 2 people, 3 people, home businesses, market women, street vendors. All those ones are SMEs. So we consider all of them as. So it's the number of employees. One. There's a classification that we give that 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 10 to 20. We have those kind of classifications, but all of them are managed as.
I'm asking this because yes. I can imagine small company with a large data need versus a large company with not such a large data need. So you can have a church which has 5,000 members and they don't even have proper internet connection.
Exactly.
You can have a small media house that does a lot of uploads and does a lot of content, so they may need a high-speed 5G. So which is why I'm coming and asking, when you're talking about small business from your perspective, is it about the number of people you are working with or the volume of what they need from you?
So as I said, it's both, but the starting point is a number of employees, not a number of people who use the service necessarily. Okay. So a number of employees. Mm-hmm. So in a church, you say 3 or 4 or 5 people, that's the starting point. Mm-hmm. But when we get in, we'll evaluate based on what we find. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we can classify it properly. Mm. Because, as you said, there could be 2 employees, but they are the setup is such that they don't need a number of people to work. Mm. So, but it's a big company. But we start off from there, and then we.
Do you conflate SME with informal? Because in discussions about Ghana business, researchers will say, 70% of Ghanaians are in the informal sector. Sometimes they mean they are SMEs, but sometimes it's not the same thing. So in your work, does the issue of an informal sector or formal sector come in at all, or is it just a question of SME versus large company?
Basically, yes. SMEs, large companies, multinationals. Informal, formal, it's other.
It's an economic description.
Yes,
it's not for you.
Yes, not necessarily.
Not necessarily for you. I see. But based on the SMEs you work with, what are some of the unique challenges the COVID pandemic presented for them in particular?
Okay, so I think it's we realized working with them that it was a shock to many. They had to close their businesses. Those who were on the streets, like I was describing, one-man businesses, shops and other things, they had to close their businesses and be home. So how were they going to serve people from home? How were they going to do that? And for most of them, they were not prepared for it. It came as a shock. So what we find is that the challenge that we find, and some of them are still trying to recover, we find is that they were not prepared in terms of their data needs, their communication, how their teams will collaborate, how they were going to make payments to their customers, how they were going to even interact with their customers. Because now you couldn't speak to people face to face. You had to. There was a need to have a system to be able to use that to interact. They were not ready for that. They were used to people walking to their businesses and interacting with them. So it exposed a lot of things, and the issue now is that we aren't going to go back to the pre-COVID era. We have to adjust and move forward. So that is where especially for a company like us, we come in to help business transition because we have moved. Even if the business itself has not changed, the customers' appetites have changed. Now they were able to do things from their home, from the comfort of their home. They were able to recharge, they were able to use services online. So if you're, as a business, you have not changed, your customers have changed, vendors have changed, your suppliers have changed. So you necessarily have to adjust.
Interesting. This is the Citi Business Festival, and this is our on-air series. Today we're speaking to Richard Densu, who's the head of or senior manager for MTN Business and Enterprise Solutions. They provide solutions for all kinds of companies. And today we're reflecting on some tools, particularly from the technology side, that can help SMEs in their bid to recover. He mentions about 4 areas that SMEs struggled. He speaks about data needs, the need for payment solutions, interactivity, and other forms of business that was disrupted by the pandemic. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll delve into some solutions that he will propose for SMEs in getting them to stay afloat and also to thrive. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is the Citi Business Festival, our on-air series, and it's brought to you by APSA with support from MTN, also IT Consortium, and GIPC and Gersa. My guest is Richard Densu. He's the senior manager MTN Enterprise Solutions. So it's quite clear that what it means to be a business may not have changed, but how to deliver your product has changed because of the COVID situation. What are some of the ways in which we can help SMEs to recover and do well from a solutions perspective?
Okay, so I'll categorize them. So I'll start with the communication and collaboration needs. So initially, before the COVID time, you had your office lines. Customers could reach you in the office. Your team could have meetings regularly, and they had to work from the office. But after the COVID, we are now having flexible working time. It means I can work at different times. I can work from anywhere. Okay. So if today somebody is in the office and another person is at home, how do they collaborate? So that is when the solutions like unified communications. So unified communications, for example, allows you to carry your fixed line in a way around. So we call it mobile PABX. So you have your PABX in the office. That's usually your internal staff would interact with each other with. But now that the person is home, if a customer calls, the phone in the office will ring, and if you cannot pick it, you've missed the business. So unified communications would allow you to be able to carry your office line with you wherever you go. That is another one. Then you also have tools like Zoom, where you can use to do collaboration. So if you're having meetings, instead of meeting physically, you could also access Zoom. There are free versions. There are free packages that you can use. If you're using Microsoft Suite, you would find Teams, that you can also use Teams. So these are some of the tools you can use, your team can use, and also with your customers. Because now customers would not necessarily travel to you to come and meet with you. You can, although they can do it, but they've become somehow used to having meetings online. So how do you leverage some of these tools? So in terms of communications, this is critical. But before I continue, I'd want to say that the basic infrastructure you need to have is internet connectivity. If you don't have that, pretty much there's little you can do. Okay, so the internet must be good. It must be cost efficient because you're going to be relying heavily on it. And it must also be available for your staff. So you're thinking about, if you think about only yourself or in the business, the customers working, your staff working from home. Otherwise, you'll be having meetings and there are breaks and there are interruptions here and there. So what kind of connectivity solutions that you can, there are a lot of them. I would just tell you that we have the fiber broadband that's it's available. We have the fixed wireless access we usually call the Turbonet. That is also available that you can use. During the COVID time, we found a lot of businesses coming for a lot of them, and they gave it out to their staff so that they could be able to work from home. So connectivity is key. So I was speaking about connectivity, which is fundamental. Then the communications. Then there is the part of being visible online for your customers. It is important to realize that customers are now used to interacting with their suppliers or with their service providers digitally. Now, so if it is essential that your services are available online and they can access it, and then they can also manage it themselves. So, in fact, you can just start with social media tools for small businesses. Don't make it too complicated. Start with social media tools. Get your services on Instagram. Get it on Facebook. There are channels now. Social media is almost like an e-commerce platform. You can do that. Register with delivery companies online. Use Uber or the other ones. Bolt, Yango. You can use any of them for delivery and all of that. It's important you build this kind of system to leverage on in terms of getting your services to your customers and they being able to make payments.
So let's hold on there. You've already spoken about the communication and customer needs and the communication. You are saying that internet connectivity is almost like the lifeblood.
Very much.
There's no substitute for internet connectivity.
No.
So even if you can do voice calls, a proper business in the 21st century post-COVID cannot survive without data.
Yes.
So what petrol and diesel meant for the old economy is what internet connectivity is for the new economy.
Very much.
Amazing. So in terms of the packages you mentioned, are you saying that even a small one-man business, there's a level for them to afford? Because it seems as if these things are sold in packages, that some of which are, it's like they assume a certain level of usage. So even to the granular level, are you saying there are solutions for individual, one-man business, partnership, law firm, whatever? How do you calibrate the solutions?
Okay, so David, for some of them, we've designed them specially to meet the needs of the SMEs. Let me give you an example. So during the COVID time, there was one church. They have almost over 1,000 branches, and then they couldn't meet again. So then we spoke with them. We had interactions. And then we built a solution for them. That is based on our unified communication platform. So the pastor would set up the meeting, and it's on his phone or wherever, on whatever device. Then the members will dial in, and then he preaches. And then for the whole day, 24 hours, they pay 1 cedi. Okay, that's an example of something we built for a church, and they've used it for almost a year throughout the pandemic.
Wow.
So there are solutions, packages like that, very cheap, 1 cedi, 24 hours.
Could they see him or they could just hear him?
They could see him or hear him. If your internet is good, you could dial into you could use the video functionality, but we're mainly using the audio. And then we also have a solution we call SME Plus, also specifically built for SMEs. So if you dial 5060 5060 hash, you'll be surprised the packages that are there. You wouldn't find it, because it was specially designed for SMEs, because we know we realize that they need these kinds of support. Then the Turbonet I mentioned, the fixed broadband I mentioned. These are with 20 cities you can actually get.
What's the difference between fixed broadband and a Turbonet?
Okay.
Because
so,
Ebon is a brand name for a product.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So both we consider as fixed broadband, but for the fiber is based on cable. So we take fiber to your home or to your office or to your business, wherever you are. We take fiber connectivity to the place. It's cable. The table net, which is fixed wireless access product device, is based on the wireless technology. Okay, so that's the difference.
So you may live in a house which has no copper or
Yes.
fiber cable connected.
Yes,
But the device will connect to the internet via wireless.
wirelessly.
So
Over our mobile network,
so
our 4G network.
if internet connectivity like electricity is basically saying you have electricity without having cables to your house.
Sort of. Yeah.
So it means that the fixed wireless can reach more places generally than the fixed broadband.
Yes. So the fixed wireless, wherever there's 4G, you can use it.
I'm asking this because of business locations. There have been
Yes.
discussions around urban living. And a lot of people have said Accra is too crowded, Accra is too complicated. They want to move to, say, Cape Coast or Ho Akosombo. So, but there's a challenge with connectivity the further you go from the center, is there not?
If you're talking about a cable, using cables, yes, then there's that limitation. But for the fixed wireless access technology, like our TableNet solution, that's doesn't, anywhere there's 4G network, you can use it and get a very good experience. Yeah.
Anywhere there's 4G.
Anywhere there's 4G.
But where is there 4G?
For MTN, we are almost all the capitals, towns across the country.
Same level of strength?
Very much.
So is the 4G in Nalerugu the same as the one I'll get in Accra?
Very much. There's
You
no
are sure?
difference. Very much.
Because one decision to locate a business infrastructure, internet infrastructure is a key determinant of business location. Now, there's a feeling that apart from the strong signals we get in urban areas, the further you go from the urban centers, the worse your connectivity becomes.
If we don't have the service, we don't have it. But if we have it, we make sure that you get the experience. Yes.
I see. So I said, apart from connectivity, you need visibility. And visibility rides on the social media platforms. But you also need a certain level of connectivity to be visible. Is that not the case?
Yes. So that's why I mentioned that the connectivity is
the basic.
Yes, it's the basic. It's a foundational infrastructure you should have.
Okay.
And then you can build on top of that. So the visibility, the digital visibility is the basic one is the social media. But then there are other platforms that you can play there. And there are developers that can help you put your services, digitize your services around. And some of them work with you. Hubtel, ExpressPay, and all of them can help you develop some of those other solutions.
And then you spoke about logistics and movement, where you speak about the boats and some of these. But they also, but it's funny, almost every solution is connectivity based. Because if you don't have internet, you can't order for a ride.
Very much.
You can't do anything.
Yeah. So we realize that. So with the SME Plus solution, for example, the 5060 star 5060 hash, where you can get the bundles, you'll find SMS, you'll find call time, airtime, you'll find data. So it's actually a bundle, so that you can meet various needs. But as I said, beyond your business getting the connectivity, your employees, they also need to be able to collaborate. So there are a lot of solutions around that would allow you to, like we have one solution we call group share. So you buy the bundle in bulk, and then your staff can use it from that same bulk. Sort of you all have one plate, and then you're using it you're all eating from it. We call it group share. So in terms of connectivity, there are lots of solutions that you can tap.
What about productivity? Do you have any solutions, or do you have any recommendations? Not even necessarily MTN. Generally, I'm hearing things around stock keeping, managing your wares, keeping track of payments, and all those things.
Yes. So there are a lot of them, and nowadays, because of advancements in internet technology, you can find a lot of them online. I mean, with free versions.
Okay.
So for small businesses, I would advise that they start with the free versions, and then as their businesses expand, then they go up. So if you went to the internet and you typed inventory management software, you could get one. It's actually free, or it has a free version.
Okay.
We've also tried to develop one that's for our customers, for SMEs I work with. We call it Business Manager. So it has the HR part, it has a inventory management part, it has a point of sales, all in one. And for all of them, you can have a free version, a free package to start working with. Okay, so what I would advise in terms of productivity solutions is try and start off with the free versions and scale up. Okay, but make the effort to use it. It's not convenient for some SMEs because they are not used to it. But as I mentioned, even if you don't want to do it, your customers have moved on. They want to be able to access services online. Okay, your suppliers have moved on. So it's important that you pay attention and be intentional about it to make sure you carry your business into the digital era.
What about space for work? When you do a survey of the big challenges SMEs face, I think in the top 3, apart from access to credit, is access to working space. There's a lot of rent, sometimes in foreign currency. As a solutions provider, is that of concern to you? So are you there used to be internet cafes, but I don't think they are there anymore. Is MTN Business thinking around things around co-working spaces or innovation hubs or places where people who want to work can just interact and thrive? Is that something you've thought about? Is that something we should be thinking about for the future?
Okay, so we can think about that, but what we do is to make it possible for you to work from anywhere. So that is so not necessarily the brick and mortar. You can actually work from anywhere. We can actually have this from anywhere. We don't have to be here. So those are the kind of tools that we are providing. So we mentioned the connectivity. If you have connectivity, your connectivity is good. It means we can work from portions of your kitchen. Actually, you can set it up. During the heat of the COVID, and even till now, I use part of my house as an office. So my fiber broadband is there. I have my lines are there and all of that. So I hold meetings, I hold all of that from that office. So it is good to have a physical location where customers can locate you, but you don't really need that anymore to work, because there are now tools, technologies have advanced that you can work from anywhere, and people work practically from their bedrooms.
I see.
Yeah.
But the fact that people are working outside a traditional workspace presents a couple of issues.
Yes.
So, for example, if I'm a bank, I work in a bank and I'm supposed to work from home, and I've sent my office laptop home, that presents a new challenge. Apart from the fact that my kids are home and they could smash the laptop, I'm logging into a working system from home. Or I'm in a restaurant eating and I say I want to work. Does that not present security problems and challenges? And if it does, what are your thoughts around how to manage that type of situation?
Yes. So as someone in the internet space, I think is one of the challenges that the COVID brought. So you're working from home, your wife is around, and your wife is not an employee. Okay, and you're discussing numbers, you're discussing strategies, or your brother is around, or you've gone to sit because you're not getting connectivity, you've gone to sit in a restaurant somewhere taking coffee, and you're discussing business. Okay, so those are some of the challenges that
Somebody's sitting opposite you.
somebody's
and it's
sitting
videoing you.
And it's videoing you. Okay, capturing your screen and all of that. So first of all, it has to start with you as an individual. You must have that consciousness that this poses a security challenge. So what can I do about it? Okay, so you are making sure that you're always locking your screen. Those are basic things. You don't need tools for that. Make sure you lock your screen if you're leaving there. If you're going to have discussions, if you can use the earpiece, fine, and also conscious about the people around and all of that. And you also should know that it's not everywhere you can discuss everything. Okay, so wherever you are sitting, or seated, you are conscious, you're scanning your environment. So that is important. And then there are also people who are advanced, so they would want to tap because your internet is not secure. You're using public Wi-Fi, so it's important that you log in using your company's VPN network. And for most companies, they have the VPN network. Log in using that. And so that then your data transfer and all of that is secure.
So don't work with public Wi-Fi.
You can if you don't have any other option, but then realize that you are exposed.
Yeah.
You're exposed, heavily exposed. So that is when you need to be able to use the VPN.
Where do you see the future of work? How do you prepare for that future? That's my final question.
Okay, so we aren't, as I mentioned, we aren't going to go back to the pre-COVID time. So if you scan around, I mean, as a small business, you would want to scan around and see what is happening. Most companies, take the banks. Now you can do all your banking on your phone, okay? And big companies like MTN, we put in power into the customer's hands, okay? So the customer should be able to interact with us over, say, an app, our Ayoba app, our My MTN app, and our eShop. All of that, we're building these platforms so that they can interact with us, giving them the power to be able to access services, manage their services, and all of that. So as a small business, you should scan the environment and see that things are changing. So there's going to be a time where we're going to have a lot of robots doing, answering your questions. So, okay. They call it chatbots. And then we're also going to have, a flexible working environment, okay, where employees can virtually work from anywhere and at different times. This, some companies have adopted already, and it's going to grow as we get the security issues, devices, and connectivity issues resolved. We're going to have more of that. It is important that as a small business, you prepare for that. And as I said, it is critical to understand that it is not just you're working within an ecosystem. So if those that you're working with are changing, you need to change. Because, for instance, if you want to work with me tomorrow and you say I should come to your office, I would say, no, give me a way to be able to do that with you. You said you have a service, I should come and try it. No, show me where I can find it and I'll try it. Or I'm looking for a service, I go to Google, I type it, I should be able to see you there. So these things, this adoption of new technology is key. And then also training. So you should begin to train your staff to be able to adopt some of these technologies, take them through, and then finally be conscious of security. It's become a critical thing. Be conscious of it.
Thank you, Richard Densu. He's been speaking to us on technology tools for the modern post-COVID work world for SMEs as part of our Citi Business Festival. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.